Almost everything Helaena Targaryen has said has either come true on screen or maps to a known event still to come. Here is every clue she has given and what each one points to. The millipede. Helena's first observation comes in the 6th episode of the series. She is sitting in the family chamber holding a millipede in her cupped hand, while Aemond is in tears over not having a dragon. Alicent is comforting him. Helaena, ignored by everyone in the room, is muttering to the insect. Her words.
This one has 60 rings, and 2 pairs of legs on each. That's 240. It has eyes, though I don't believe it can see. The last ring has no legs at all.
On the surface, this is just a child studying a bug, but every piece of it carries a coded meaning. The rings describe a chain, a dynasty in this reading. The eyes that cannot see is the recurring problem of every Targaryen dreamer in the show. They are given visions, and they fail to read them. And the last ring with no legs is the line that has triggered most fan analysis because 2 interpretations both work. The first is internal to House of the Dragon. Aegon, the eldest brother, the king, will, by fire and blood, end the dance of the dragons broken-legged, the last of Alicent's sons to die. He is the last ring, and he has no legs at all. The second reading reaches 3 centuries forward to the very end of Game of Thrones, but we will return to that one at the end of this video. For now, hold the line in mind. Close an eye. In the same scene, seconds later, Helaena drops her first prophecy to be fulfilled within the show. As Alicent assures Aemond that he will one day have a dragon of his own, Helaena, still looking at the millipede, mutters, "He'll have to close an eye."
You will have a dragon one day. He'll have to close an eye.
Neither Alicent nor Aemond hear it. The line hangs there and then the scene ends. It pays off in the next episode, which takes place at Laena Velaryon's funeral on the Velaryon seat of Driftmark. Aemond, restless and humiliated, slips away that night and claims Vhagar, the largest dragon in Westeros. On returning, he is confronted by Laena's daughters, Baela and Rhaena, and Rhaenyra's sons Jacaerys and Lucerys. The fight escalates. Lucerys slashes Aemond across the face with a dragonglass dagger, taking out his left eye. Within a single episode, Helena's prophecy has come true. He has his dragon, and he has had to close an eye. This is the moment the show flags her, for the audience, as a true dreamer. Targaryen dreamer status in the books is reserved for a small list. Helaena is not on that list, but the TV series adds her. Hand turns loom. Her next prophecy comes in the same episode. Earlier, at the funeral, while the Targaryens and Velaryons are mingling, Helaena stands apart, holding a spider.
Spool of green, spool of black, dragons of flesh, weaving dragons of thread.
She repeats to herself, hand turns loom, spool of green, spool of black, dragons of flesh, weaving dragons of thread. This is the most compressed prophecy in the series, with every piece mapping onto what's coming. Hand turns loom. Otto, the Hand of the King, has been quietly building a long-game political plot for decades to put his grandson on the Iron Throne over Rhaenyra. He is turning the loom. The spool of green is the color of his and Alicent's faction. The spool of black is Rhaenyra's. Dragons of flesh weaving dragons of thread means the war itself, which the books and the show both call the Dance of the Dragons, with Targaryens on both sides riding against one another. She says the line in front of every major player in the saga. Otto is there. Alicent is there. Viserys, Rhaenyra, and Damon are all there. Aemond and Aegon are within earshot. Aegon, her future husband, treats her cryptic muttering as just an oddity, so nobody who hears it pays any attention. The prophecy starts paying off just 2 episodes later when Otto stages the coup that crowns Aegon, and of course by the end of Season 2, the Greens and the Blacks are in open dragon warfare. The hand has turned loom, the spools have unwound, and the dragons of flesh are weaving catastrophe. The Beast Beneath the Boards. The next prophecy is a 2-parter.
Beware the beast beneath the board.
In Season 1, Episode 8, Helaena mutters, "Beware the beast beneath the boards," while at Viserys' Last Supper. It is delivered like the others in a half-distracted register, while the rest of the table is preoccupied. She repeats it in the next episode. This time it is almost as a direct warning to Alicent, when Alicent visits her to break the news of Viserys' death. Again, Helaena has an insect in her hand. This time one that she is making a tapestry of.
There is a beast beneath the boards.
Alicent disregards the comment and tries to console Helaena. The payoff happens at the end of the same episode. Aegon is being crowned at the Dragon Pit on the Hill of Rhaenys in front of an assembled crowd of nobles and small folk. The ceremony is reaching its peak when the floor erupts. Rhaenys, who has just escaped house arrest in the Red Keep, bursts up through the floor of the Dragon Pit on Meleys. Rhaenys could end the war in that moment by decapitating the Green regime where they stand. She flies on to warn Rhaenyra at Dragonstone instead, so the beast beneath the boards was Meleys. Helaena predicted it twice before she emerged. The Hightowers heard it twice and dismissed it. The Coronation. The 5th Season 1 clue is the one viewers miss, because it is not delivered in dialogue. Throughout Aegon's coronation in Season 1, Episode 9, Helena's behavior is more off than usual. She is visibly distressed and distracted, staring at the floor and refusing to look at Aegon as the crown is placed on his head. She has already seen the dragon burst through the floor in her dreams. She knows what is about to happen, and she cannot make her body stop twitching in expectation. She even closes her eyes in the last shot we see of her before Meleys arrives. It is the first behavioral prophecy in the series, and it sets up a pattern that will repeat in Season 2. The moments when her body language is most strange are the moments she has seen something the others have not. The Rats and the Shroud. Season 2 opens with the most famous Helaena prophecy of House of the Dragon so far, and the one her husband most directly ignores. In A Son for a Son, Aegon enters the nursery looking for their son Jaehaerys. Helaena is sitting at her embroidery, working on a piece of cloth. He tells her she is safe. No enemy dragon can reach the Red Keep with Vhagar overhead. Her reply recorded across every recap of the episode.
They'd be fools to come with Vhagar protecting the city.
Not the dragons, the rats.
Aegon laughs and calls his queen an enduring mystery. He leaves. The scene cuts shortly after to a rat catcher moving through the Red Keep, laying traps. The payoff is the closing sequence of the same episode. Damon, on Dragonstone, has hired 2 assassins to kill Aemond as the titular son for a son retaliation for Lucerys' death. Their names are Blood, a former Gold Cloak, and Cheese, a Red Keep rat catcher with knowledge of the secret tunnels. They infiltrate the royal quarters, fail to find Aemond, and instead corner Helaena and her twins. Unable to identify the boy heir on sight, they force her to point him out. She does. They behead Jaehaerys in front of her. Eagle-eyed viewers caught a potential second prophecy in the same scene. The cloth Helaena was embroidering when she said "the rats" was widely interpreted as being a funeral shroud, that she had begun preparing for her son's death before her husband had even left the room. This suggests that while Helaena does not always understand what her dreams are telling her, her body somehow does. The Rook's Rest Dream. The next clue is a clairvoyant dream of an event happening in real time, and it is an upgrade of Helena's powers. The Battle of Rook's Rest. Aemond on Vhagar deliberately turns his fire on Aegon and Sunfire midair. He is either trying to kill his brother or willing to risk it, and Aegon falls, broken and burning, from the sky. Helaena is not at Rook's Rest. She is in King's Landing, but by the time of the season finale, when Aemond approaches her on the Red Keep balcony, a scene we will return to later, she opens the conversation by asking him,
"And if I refuse, will you burn me as you did Aegon?"
That line is evidence. She has not been told what happened at Rook's Rest, and she is not guessing. She has dreamed it. The burn, the fall, the deliberate direction of Vhagar's fire. She has seen it all clearly enough to put the accusation to Aemond. She is the one person in Aemond's family who knows exactly what kind of brother he is. Next we have The Cricket That Stopped Singing. Alicent visits Helaena in her chamber in Episode 6. Helaena is studying caged crickets. Looking at one of them, she says,
"This one stopped singing."
The line is delivered in the by now familiar half-distracted Helaena register, and Alicent, like every member of the family before her, does not appear to note that anything important has been said. There are multiple possible readings of this, and the series has yet to settle the question. The most cited interpretation is that it's referencing Daemon Targaryen. Daemon is the 4th and youngest of Alicent's children with Viserys, and he has been mentioned in dialogue across both seasons, but has not yet appeared on screen. Daemon has been raised in Oldtown, fostered with the Hightowers. To back up this theory, moments before Helena's cricket line, Alicent's brother Gwaine has been talking about Daemon as excelling at swordplay and the lute. Could he be the Targaryen who stopped singing? The second reading is that the 3 caged crickets are the 3 unclaimed Targaryen dragons of the war, Seasmoke, Vermithor, and Silverwing. One has gone silent. Seasmoke is claimed by Adam of Hull in the very next episode, so the cricket that stopped singing is Seasmoke by this reading, because his solitude has just ended. The third reading focuses on Aegon himself. Burned at Rook's Rest, broken, no longer the laughing half-king he was at the start of the season. The man who sang has stopped singing after Rook's Rest rendered him weak. Fia Sabin, who plays Helaena, was asked directly about the line in an interview. She declined to confirm any single reading, so this is left deliberately open and could go any direction. Inside Daemon's Vision. Season 2, Episode 8, and Damon, who has spent the season being haunted by visions in Harrenhal, is led by Alice Rivers to the courtyard's weirwood tree. She tells him to place his hand on the carved face. He does, and the vision starts. What he sees runs across the next 300 years of Westeros history. A figure with a raven on his shoulder, Brynden Rivers, the future three-eyed raven. A White Walker, Daenerys Targaryen, naked, with 3 newborn dragons in the ash of Khal Drogo's pyre. Rhaenyra, crowned on the Iron Throne, and then it ends on Helaena. She appears behind Damon. She has projected herself into his vision, and she speaks to him.
It's all a story, and you're but one part in it. You know your part.
What does this tell us? It is not a forecast this time. She's not telling Damon what is about to happen at Harrenhal. She is giving him a larger message. No other character in House of the Dragon, or in Game of Thrones with the eventual exception of Bran, has ever projected themselves into another person's vision. Helena's power has crossed a new threshold. The Wooden Throne and the God's Eye. Immediately after the Weirwood vision, the action returns to King's Landing. Helaena is on a Red Keep balcony, dressed exactly as she was in Damon's vision. Aemond is making his second attempt to convince her to fly Dreamfire to Harrenhal.
To Harrenhal, we will lay waste to Damon.
It's not working, and Helaena answers him with the question,
And if I refuse, will you burn me as you did Aegon?
Aemond accuses her of lying and of treason. Helaena does not budge, and then, for the first time, she delivers a prophecy without a riddle, an insect, or a loom. She speaks plainly.
Aegon will be king again. You'll be dead. You were swallowed up in the god's eye, and you are never seen again.
Can it be that Helaena has stopped speaking in metaphor? Aemond threatens her, but she does not back down. The next shot is Rhaenyra and Syrax flying over the God's Eye Lake. This could be the most consequential Helaena prediction so far, as it could map directly onto Season 3 and the rest of the dance. But we can't be sure exactly what comes next because the series has already significantly diverged from George R.R. Martin's books. Only time will tell. The Last Ring has no legs at all. We end where Helena's prophecies began. Helaena was a girl in a chamber holding a millipede in her hand. We have already covered the internal show reading. Aegon is the last ring and he ends the dance broken-legged, but the larger reading runs 300 years.
This one has 60 rings, and 2 pairs of legs on each. That's 240.
240 plus 60 is 300. 300 years is, almost exactly, the span of time between Aegon's conquest in 2 BC and the end of the Iron Throne in Game of Thrones. The rings are the years. The eyes that cannot see describe a man known to the audience, Brandon Stark, who can see through the eyes of every living thing in the world, but whose own eyes do not work the way human eyes work.
It has eyes, though I don't believe it can see. The last ring has no legs at all.
And the last ring has no legs at all because Bran the Broken, famously pushed from a tower in Game of Thrones and paralyzed from that day forward, sits on the Iron Throne in the final episode. He is the last ruler of the dynasty Helena's line built. He cannot walk, so the last ring has no legs. This is the longest reach prophecy in either show and definitely falls in the category of speculation, more fan extrapolation than book canon. But the show itself has now made the connection plausible through Damon's Weirwood vision. If Helaena saw Aegon's broken legs and Aemond's drowning a season early, perhaps she also saw, in the millipede scene that opened Season 1, the broken man on the throne 3 centuries on. Again, only time will tell. That's it for every clue Helaena Targaryen has dropped so far. Which Helaena prophecy do you think the show will pay off first? Let us know in the comments. Hit subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.